The misunderstood message. The story opens aboard the Terran diplomatic vessel Harmony as it approaches the neutral space station, Nexus Prime. Captain James Miller and his crew are preparing for what should be routine first contact with the Galactic Empire, a powerful alien civilization that controls 12 star systems. Dr. Lisa Park, the ship's xenolinguist, reviews the translation protocols one final time. The Velic language uses complex harmonic frequencies that human vocal cords cannot produce naturally. They rely on advanced AI translators that convert human speech into Velic harmonics and vice versa. The meeting begins promisingly. Ambassador Korth, a tall, crystalline being with shifting blue patterns across his skin, welcomes the humans with what appears to be genuine interest. Through the translators, he speaks of trade opportunities and cultural exchange. Captain Miller responds with Earth's standard diplomatic greeting, expressing humanity's peaceful intentions and desire for mutual cooperation. However, unknown to both parties, a critical malfunction occurs in the translation matrix. A solar flare from the nearby star interferes with the quantum processors, causing a cascade failure in the language conversion algorithms. When Captain Miller says, "We come in peace, seeking friendship among the stars," the translator outputs something entirely different in Valak harmonics. What Ambassador Korth hears is, "We come as conquerors. Your worlds will burn before our fleet." The Velic delegation reacts with shock and horror. Their crystalline forms flash from blue to deep crimson, a sign of extreme alarm. Ambassador Korth's harmonic response, intended to be a desperate plea for reconsideration, is similarly mistranslated. The humans hear, "Your species will be eliminated before the next cycle." Captain Miller, believing he's just been threatened with genocide, immediately orders Red Alert. The Harmony raises shields and powers weapons. The Velac escort ships, interpreting this as confirmation of human aggression, do the same. Within moments, the first shots are fired. The battle is brief but devastating. The Harmony, though outgunned, manages to disable 2 Velac cruisers using experimental plasma torpedoes before making an emergency jump to hyperspace. 3 human crew members are killed, including Dr. Park, who dies trying to fix the malfunctioning translator dot as the damaged Harmony limps back toward Earth. Both sides prepare for what they believe is an inevitable war. The Velic Empire mobilizes its grand fleet, convinced that humanity has revealed itself as a genocidal threat. Meanwhile, Earth's High Command receives Captain Miller's report of unprovoked Velac aggression and begins activating humanity's most closely guarded secret. The full war fleet. The sleeping giant awakens. Earth's reaction to the news is swift and decisive. Admiral Robert Kane, commander of the Solar Defense Force, convenes an emergency session of the War Council. The holographic displays show the extent of Velic territory and their estimated military strength. The numbers are sobering, but humanity has been preparing for this moment for decades. Deep beneath the moon's surface, in facilities that don't officially exist, the full war fleet begins to stir. These aren't the patrol cruisers and exploration vessels that the galaxy knows about. These are humanity's true warships, built in secret using technology, reverse-engineered from a dozen different alien encounters over the past century. The flagship, Retribution, a massive dreadnought stretching 5 kilometers from bow to stern, powers up its fusion reactors for the first time in 10 years. Around it, hundreds of other vessels begin their activation sequences. Stealth destroyers designed to be invisible to most sensor arrays, carrier ships housing swarms of AI-controlled fighters, and siege platforms capable of cracking planetary shields. Captain Anna Cross, recently promoted to command the Retribution, reviews her orders with a mixture of pride and dread. Humanity's policy has always been speak softly and carry a big stick, but now the stick must be used. Her mission is clear: demonstrate overwhelming force to prevent a prolonged war. Meanwhile, across human space, reserve fleets are being called up. The merchant marine vessels, seemingly innocent cargo haulers, begin shedding their false outer hulls to reveal hidden weapon systems. Mining stations activate their concealed defense grids. Even civilian habitats start deploying military-grade shields and point defense systems. The galaxy's other major powers watch with growing concern. The Terran Republic, previously seen as a minor player with limited military capabilities, is revealing itself to be something far more dangerous. Intelligence reports from various species paint a picture of a civilization that has been hiding its true strength for generations. President Maria Santos addresses the United Earth Assembly. Her words broadcast across human space and intercepted by alien intelligence services. She speaks of humanity's peaceful intentions while simultaneously authorizing the largest military mobilization in human history. The message is clear. Earth will defend itself against any threat. The Galactic Empire, monitoring human communications, interprets the mobilization as confirmation of their worst fears. Their own intelligence suggests that humanity possesses weapons technology that could threaten Velak homeworlds. Ambassador Korth, still believing that humans declared their intent to burn Velak worlds, advises his government to strike first before the human fleet can fully deploy. Asterisk forces converge. The neutral zone between human Velak space becomes a hive of activity as both fleets move toward their inevitable confrontation. The scale of the mobilization surprises even seasoned military observers from other species. What was supposed to be a minor diplomatic incident has escalated into what could become the largest space battle in galactic history. Captain Cross stands on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the tactical display as her fleet assumes formation. 350 human warships, each one a testament to decades of secret military development, move in perfect synchronization. The sight should be magnificent, but Cross knows that many of these ships won't survive the coming battle. Tactical Officer, Commander Rick Stone, reports that Velak scouts have been detected at the edge of sensor range. The enemy fleet is massive, nearly 500 ships strong, but their technology is more conventional. The Velak rely on energy shields and plasma cannons, tried and true weapons that have served them well in their expansion. Across 12 star systems, humanity's approach is different. Their ships carry weapons that most aliens would consider impossible or impractical. Gravity cannons that can create artificial black holes, quantum torpedoes that ignore conventional shields, and swarm fighters controlled by AI systems that can process battlefield information faster than any organic mind. The first sign of the approaching Velak fleet comes as a distortion in space itself. Their largest ships use dimensional fold drives that create visible ripples in the fabric of reality. Admiral Vex, the Velak fleet commander, has brought his empire's finest vessels, including the massive battlecruiser Harmony's End, named in honor of their first victory against the humans. As the fleets draw closer, both sides attempt last-minute diplomatic communications. However, the same technical problems that started the conflict continue to plague translation efforts. Every message is garbled. Every attempt at peace sounds like a threat or an insult. The communication breakdown is so complete that neither side realizes they're both trying to avoid a war. The Velak formation is traditional and impressive, with their largest ships at the center, surrounded by concentric rings of smaller vessels. Their crystalline hulls gleam with stored energy, and their weapon systems charge with harmonic frequencies that create visible light displays across the electromagnetic spectrum. Humanity's formation is more spread out, taking advantage of their superior stealth technology and longer-range weapons. Many of their ships are nearly invisible to conventional sensors, appearing as little more than gravitational anomalies or heat signatures. The human fleet looks smaller and less impressive, but it actually is a deliberate tactical deception. Captain Cross receives her final orders from Earth Command. The rules of engagement are clear. Demonstrate overwhelming force. Neutralize the Velek threat, but avoid unnecessary destruction of civilian targets. The goal is to end the war quickly, not to commit genocide. On the Velek flagship, Admiral Vex makes his own final preparations. His orders are equally clear. Stop the human expansion before it can threaten Velek civilians. Both commanders are convinced they're fighting a defensive war against an aggressive enemy. The stage is set for a battle that will reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Neither side wants this war, but both are convinced they have no choice but to fight it. * the Battle of Broken Stars. Space between the two fleets erupts into chaos as the largest battle in recorded galactic history begins. The Retribution leads the human charge, her quantum torpedoes creating brilliant flashes of light as they impact Velek shields. The sound of war echoes across the void, transmitted through hull vibrations and electromagnetic interference. Captain Cross watches her tactical display as the first wave of human fighters engages the Velek screening force. The AI-controlled swarm fighters move in patterns that seem impossible, their coordinated attacks overwhelming the Velek point defense systems. Each human fighter is small and seemingly fragile, but their numbers and tactical programming make them devastatingly effective. The Velek respond with their own weapons, massive plasma cannons that can vaporize smaller ships in a single shot. The Harmony's end demonstrates the power of their dimensional fold technology, appearing suddenly behind human lines to unleash a devastating broadside. 2 human destroyers are destroyed instantly, their crews never knowing what hit them. But humanity's true advantage becomes apparent as the battle intensifies. Their gravity cannons create localized space-time distortions that bypass conventional shields entirely. Velek ships find themselves torn apart by forces they cannot defend against. The sight of their mighty vessels being crushed by artificial gravity wells shakes. Velek morale. Admiral Vex realizes he's facing an enemy unlike any his people have encountered before. The humans fight with a combination of advanced technology and ruthless efficiency that suggests they've been preparing for this kind of warfare for generations. He orders his fleet to fall back and regroup, but the human ships are faster and more maneuverable. The battle rages for 6 hours, with neither side able to claim a decisive advantage. Human ships are destroyed by Velek plasma fire, while Velek vessels are torn apart by gravity weapons and quantum torpedoes. The space between the fleets becomes a graveyard of twisted metal and crystalline debris. Captain Cross finds herself in personal combat when a Velek boarding party manages to breach the Retribution's hull. The crystalline warriors are tough and skilled, but human soldiers prove adaptable and resourceful. The close-quarters battle in the ship's corridors is fierce, with both sides fighting for their species' survival. The turning point comes when Commander Stone manages to hack into the Velek communication network. For a brief moment, the translation barriers fall, and both sides hear each other's actual words. The shock of realization ripples through both fleets as commanders understand that they're fighting over a misunderstanding. But the battle has gained its own momentum. Too many have died. Too much blood has been spilled. Even as some ships on both sides attempt to cease fire, others continue fighting. The miscommunication that started the war has been replaced by the reality of mutual destruction. The price of misunderstanding in the aftermath of the battle, both fleets hang in space, battered and broken. The human fleet has lost nearly a third of its ships, while the Velek have suffered even heavier casualties. The Retribution drifts with massive hull breaches, her crew working desperately to maintain life support. Captain Cross and Admiral Vex establish a direct communication link using emergency frequencies. With the help of backup translation systems, They finally manage to understand each other clearly. The horror of the truth hits both commanders like a physical blow. Thousands have died because of a malfunctioning translator. The ceasefire negotiations take place aboard a damaged Velak cruiser, chosen as neutral ground. Captain Cross and Admiral Vex sit across from each other, both bearing the wounds of battle. The conversation is difficult, filled with the weight of unnecessary death and destruction. They piece together what happened during that first diplomatic meeting. The solar flare, the cascade failure, the mistranslations that turned words of peace into threats of war. Both sides realize they've been fighting an enemy that never existed, defending against threats that were never made. The galaxy watches as news of the ceasefire spreads. The revelation that such a massive conflict was caused by a simple miscommunication sends shockwaves through the diplomatic community. Every species begins reviewing their own translation protocols, terrified of making the same mistake. Recovery efforts begin immediately. Human and Velak ships work together to rescue survivors from the debris field. The same crews that were trying to kill each other hours before now risk their lives to save their former enemies. The sight of human medics treating wounded Velak warriors becomes a symbol of hope, but the damage cannot be undone. The families of the dead on both sides mourn their losses. Political tensions rise as some factions on both sides call for renewed warfare. The peace is fragile, held together by the shared understanding that continuing the fight would only create more unnecessary death. Captain Cross returns to Earth to face a board of inquiry. The revelation of humanity's hidden military strength has changed the galaxy's perception of their species. They are no longer seen as peaceful explorers, but as a sleeping giant that was. Awakened by accident, the story ends with the establishment of the Galactic Translation Authority, a joint human-Velak organization dedicated to preventing similar miscommunications in the future. Both species have learned a hard lesson about the importance of clear communication and the dangers of making assumptions about other cultures. The retribution is repaired and becomes a monument to the cost of misunderstanding. Her crew includes both human and Velak officers working together to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. The ship's mission is now diplomatic, using her powerful weapons as a reminder of what happens when words fail. In the end, the miscommunication that triggered Earth's full war fleet becomes a catalyst for greater understanding between species. The price was terrible, but the lesson learned may prevent even greater conflicts in the future. A galaxy is forced to confront the reality that in space, a simple mistake can lead to the deaths of thousands and change the balance of power forever. Asterisk.